Today on Judge Faith, former business partners with a complicated history come to court after a friendly arrangement to open a soul food restaurant ends in a bitter battle over money.
I always wanted to open up a soul food restaurant, and I have 16 grandchildren, and they told me, "You cook so good, Nana."
Did the two of you date or not?
Yes, ma'am, we did. We dated.
I'm a single woman, and it was around my birthday. That didn't have nothing to do with our business.
Was this before or after the loan?
The money that she invested, she claims she got that from one of her ex-boyfriends who was a drug dealer, and he started threatening her about repaying him back this money.
He gave me a runaround about the business.
It's business and pleasure all mixed in together.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor, and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real, and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Earlene Williams says she loaned the defendant money to help him start a soul food restaurant, but it never opened. She's suing for an unpaid loan. Defendant Douglas Dunlap says he doesn't know because Earlene made an investment in his business and understood the risk that the restaurant may never open.
All rise. Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Please be seated. Your Honor, the litigants have been sworn in. This is the case of Williams versus Dunlap.
Thank you, Juan. Earlene Williams,
Yes, Your Honor.
you are suing the defendant Douglas Dunlap
Yes, Your Honor.
for $1,950. $1,300 of that is for an unpaid loan, $400 in interest
Yes.
for the loan, $150 for a contract. You can explain to me what that means, and $100 in gas money.
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you know the defendant? Give me some background.
I met James through a mutual friend at a mutual friend's bar, and he was talking about opening up a restaurant, and he turned around and started talking to me, and I was excited. You know.
Did you know him before seeing him at this bar?
No, I didn't.
So
Your Honor.
you guys would just start talking about the restaurant business at the
Yeah,
bar.
I was
Okay.
excited because, you know, I like a soul food restaurant, and that's what he was talking about opening. And I have 16 grandchildren, and they told me, Nana, you would be a good cook for, you know, opening up a restaurant so you'll have your own business because you cook so good, Nana. And I always wanted to open up a soul food restaurant. And so when James started talking to me, that was the opportunity for me to open up a soul food restaurant.
To go into business with him?
To go into business with him.
And so this is someone who you've never met. Did you have a chance to review his business plan about opening the restaurants? What did you do as far as your due diligence?
Okay, well, we talked about it, and I made up a little contract. The first contract he didn't like, and so I revised it.
And how much money did you agree to invest?
$2,500.
$2,500 in the soul food restaurant. But did you ever see his business plan for the restaurant?
He wrote something up on some paper, Your Honor.
Is that a no?
And
Is that a yes or no, ma'am?
No.
Where are you based? In Atlanta?
Yes.
And the restaurant was going to be based in Atlanta as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Had you opened a restaurant before, or was this your first time?
Yes, ma'am, I have. This is my second restaurant that I've opened before, Your Honor. Me and Ms. Williams had a conversation in a mutual friend's bar. She asked me what phase was I in, and I told her the phase that I was in.
What phase were you in at that time?
I was in the phase of needing an investor to finish out the process.
Okay, how much money did you need at the time?
At $2,500.
That's it? That's all you needed,
Yes,
was
ma'am,
$2,500 to open up the restaurant? Because you had other investors?
Yes, ma'am.
How much money did you have at the time lined up?
I had about $7,000.
$7,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
The next day, you know, she came and picked me up. We went on a date, you know, a little lunch date, rather.
Wait, a business lunch or a date?
We went out and had a business luncheon, and, you know, we discussed what was taking place with me at the restaurant. Then that Monday, you know, we met up and we went and looked at some restaurant equipment, some stuff that we needed. I gave her the address of the place where it was at.
Because she was going to put in how much, $2,500?
She was going to invest $2,500.
How much did she give you?
$1,300.
$1,300, and you said this was an investment. What was she supposed to get back?
With her $2,500, I was going to give her 30% of the business profits gross after expenses were paid.
30% from what, the first year?
Yes, ma'am, the first year.
So $2,500 gets you 30% of the profit?
Yes, ma'am.
$2,500.
Yes, ma'am.
30%.
I was at that point to where I was getting ready to start working for the post office.
Is it because you knew there probably wouldn't be a profit the first year of the
ma'am.
restaurant?
There was going to be a profit because we were in a very lucrative location. The location was very profitable. The people were there. The foot traffic was there.
So what ends up happening? You give him the $1,300 of $2,500, right?
Yes.
So you never gave him the rest of the money. But why do you say you're suing? Because you said this is an unpaid loan, and you're suing for interest for a loan. You say you drafted up a contract. Did the two of you enter into a written agreement?
No,
Well,
ma'am.
No.
he didn't like the first one that I did, and we kept going back and forth. I left the contract at home.
Was it ever signed?
No, the contract was never signed.
But you're suing him for $150 for what? For the contract?
Because I went and had it made up.
You paid somebody to draft this contract? Is that what you're saying?
Did. Yes,
and
I
you
did.
want him to pay for the money that you spent on drafting the contract?
Yes.
Coming up, the business that got mixed with pleasure is discussed in more detail.
I took her to dinner. I paid for the valet parking.
It was one room? You shared a room?
Yes, ma'am. We had the same room.
Must have been a good date. Hi, I'm Judge Faith. Follow me on Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Plaintiff Erlene Williams says Douglas scammed her for money. She's suing for an unpaid loan. Defendant Douglas Dunlap says he doesn't know because the money from Erlene was an investment that didn't pay off.
Help me understand this. How does he get $1,300 if the contract's never signed?
We had went to look at some appliances for the restaurant, and after we left there, I took him to the train station. He was always wanting to use my car, Your Honor. Always wanting to use my car. He said it'd make a better impression when we went to see the real estate person at the restaurant.
Oh, you submitted a picture of your Mercedes so I could see
Yes,
that
Your Honor.
you have a nice car?
Because he wanted to ride in it all the time.
And you
We
wanted to
never
ride in
could.
her car?
No,
because you thought it looked. What kind of car did you have at the
No,
time?
ma'am. I've had several cars, Your Honor. I was driving a Chevrolet
No, he
Impala.
didn't, Your Honor.
Okay.
His car broke down. We was on the phone one day, and I said, "What's that noise?" "Oh, that's my car. It's breaking down. I got to take it to the shop."
So you want him to pay you $100 in gas money for driving around?
Yeah,
Going
going back
things
and
set
forth
up for
to
the
this
business.
restaurant, Your Honor, and I got pictures of the building, and they're right here. If you want to see.
Your Honor,
the building needed so much work,
We
Your
spent a
Honor.
weekend in the
I'm
Omni
just-
for her
oh my
birthday.
What?
God.
For her birthday, I took her to the Omni.
Did the two of you date or not?
Yes, ma'am, we did. We dated. I took
It
her
was
to
a
the,
one-time
I took.
thing, Your Honor. That's all it was. I'm a single woman, and it was a one-time thing. It was around my birthday, and that was it. That didn't have nothing to do with our business.
So it was your birthday, and you
I
decided
have receipts
that the
for it.
two of you were gonna
He offered
mix business with pleasure at this point, right?
He offered to take me,
Okay.
out of town
And-
for my birthday, but
So y'all went out of town.
no. He offered to, but I couldn't go.
I have receipts for
And
where we
so
stayed at the
then
Omni for her birthday.
we decided to go to the Omni.
Oh, see, he has
and-
receipts.
Yeah.
Let me see his receipts.
And I
I
got a
took her
receipt
out
where
to
he
dinner.
signed where I gave him that $1,300.
I took her to dinner. I paid for the valet parking.
It was one room? You shared a room?
Yes, ma'am. We had the same room.
Must have been a good date.
It was all right.
I took her out to dinner. We had drinks. We walked around in the Omni. We looked at different things. We took pictures of, the site from the overview of the city.
Was this before or after the loan?
Before.
So now he's wined and dined you a little bit.
Yeah, but he gave me a runaround about the business. He never could get the keys to the business.
So you're telling me everything that happened, you don't have a contract that's signed, but you have a date, right? The two of you have spent, obviously, some quality time together. Is that why you're looking over the fact that he hasn't presented you with a business plan?
No, Your
He
Honor.
hasn't signed a contract, but yet you give him the
Because
$1,300?
he kept telling me that he was getting money from the VA. They was going to fix the building
Let me
up.
see the agreement that you drafted that was never signed. I just want to take a look at that. It's not a binding agreement, but I want to look at it. There's a difference between loaning someone $1,300 and being an investor in a business. Because when you make an investment, there's risk involved. Especially in the restaurant business, there's always risk involved. And what is the risk?
It never
You don't
got
make any
started,
money.
Your Honor.
That's not the point. I'm looking at this agreement between the two of you because you said that this was a loan and that he was supposed to pay this money back to you, and this is the agreement that you had drafted.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at it. You didn't sign it.
He agreed to pay the money back with interest, Your Honor.
Let me stop you there, because there's a difference in someone agreeing to pay you money back just because they may want to and then being legally obligated to. Because here's what we have here. We have the fact that you will be putting in some initial capital into the business, $2,500. As a return, you will get 30% of all the profits from that first year, and you agree to split food costs 50-50. There's nothing in this agreement that says that this $2,500 will be returned to you. The agreement only speaks to the fact that you invest this money in the restaurant and that you will get money back from the profit of the restaurant. Now, let me ask you something. Did the restaurant open?
No, ma'am. That particular location did not open, Your Honor.
Why?
Because I got injured on April the 4th.
Okay, so what'd you do with that money?
Coming up on Judge Faith, evidence is revealed that raises questions about the defendant's testimony.
You pled guilty in 2012 to a theft by deception. What was that case about?
I spent 120 days in prison in Savannah.
Plaintiff Erlene Williams says the restaurant never opened, so she wants to be paid back. She's suing for an unpaid loan. Defendant Douglas Dunlap says he doesn't owe because the money was an investment, not a loan.
And so what happened to her money? The $7,000 you say you got from people as investors.
No, ma'am.
What happened to the money?
That was my money. I didn't have anybody else invested. Miss Williams was the only one. The money that she invested, we went out and we looked at restaurant equipment, and I purchased equipment. The money that
he did not, Your Honor.
Ma'am, the money that she invested, the $1,300, she claims she got that from one of her ex-boyfriends who was a drug dealer, and he started threatening her about repaying him back this money.
Is that true that you borrowed the money from your ex?
I borrowed the money, but he's not a drug dealer, Your Honor.
But was it from your ex? Did you tell him that?
She gave him my picture.
Okay.
She gave him my picture and my address for him to come looking for me.
Is that true?
Well, I told him, about James because he wanted to know where his money was.
And I'm trying to figure that out right now. So tell me what happened, because earlier you told me that you had multiple investors.
No, ma'am. I didn't.
Earlier in the case, that's what you told me. Now you're telling me that she was the only one.
She was
so
the
I'm
only
going to ask
investor.
you again, okay, because you're kind of giving me different stories now. I just want to know that this money actually went towards the restaurant, and I want to know why the restaurant didn't open. So how was her $1,300 spent?
It was spent on paying the rest of the down payment for the restaurant and equipment.
Okay, what proof do you have of that?
I have the lease from the restaurant.
Let me see that.
Your Honor, he told me that he had 3 months already paid on it.
Ma'am, stop. It's not a loan. It's not a loan. You and I both know this was not a loan.
And the reason why it never opened was because I got injured on April the 4th, and I was going on workman's comp. And my attorney told me that it's not a good time for me to open the restaurant because I'm being investigated, looking at through workman's comp. So I asked her, I said, can you put this in your name? She says, no, I can't put it in my name. I can't put my name on anything because I am drawing disability.
Did you purchase anything towards the opening of this restaurant?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Where's your proof that you spent money purchasing something towards the opening of this restaurant?
Here's the proof for the new place, because when I got injured, they were only paying me partial payments. That's the proof of the new place, the new lease, the money that has been paid, the agreements. Here's a copy of the menu.
So you opened another restaurant? Is that open?
Yes, ma'am.
You have a restaurant that's open right now?
Yes, ma'am.
And her money didn't go towards that?
No, because she said she wanted her money out, and I wanted to give her that $1,300 back because she said this drug dealer was
Did you know that he has a
threatening her.
restaurant open now?
No.
So this is your restaurant?
Here's where I was injured on workman's comp. I told Ms. Williams I had
papers you want to give?
Yes. I told Ms. Williams I had the money to give her.
He told me he was going to get advance on his case to pay me my money.
I see you were injured, and I see there's an issue with your workers' comp. And you have proof of a new restaurant that was open, Southern Comforts. A fish sandwich is only $4?
Yes, ma'am. We're making it affordable for the people in that area, Your Honor.
So an entire catfish dinner, 2 pieces of catfish, fries, coleslaw, and hush puppies is only $6.
Yes, ma'am.
We might have to make a pit stop in Georgia one of these days. All right. I just want to see proof of what the money was spent on. You submitted proof that you spent money on this new restaurant, but my question is the one that she went into business with you on that never opened. and I don't see any receipts for that. Let me ask you something. You pled guilty in 2012 to a theft by deception. What was that case about?
That was an automobile. I was working for an automobile dealership.
Mm-hmm.
I was working for some Pakistanians, and I purchased an automobile from them that they couldn't provide a title to. I sold the vehicle, and they were supposed to have the title.
There was a woman involved in that case. Did you take her to the Omni Hotel, too?
No, ma'am, I didn't. I didn't.
What was her involvement in the case?
She purchased a Cadillac Escalade, and we couldn't provide the title to her in time, and she went and pressed charges on us, theft by deception.
And so she gave you money towards the purchase of an Escalade. What happened to that money?
We had to return it back to her.
She gave you how much money towards the purchase of an Escalade?
I think it was $15,000.
There's a little more to that story, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That you're not telling me?
Well, I spent 120 days in prison in Savannah.
Yeah, because you pled guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
And you pled guilty because you did something wrong.
Right.
Coming up, Judge Faith rules. And now, Judge Faith rules.
So here we are. We have a case where there's not a loan, there's an investment of $1,300, right?
Yeah.
I have no issues whatsoever when someone makes an investment and you don't do your due diligence. You don't see a business plan. You don't have a contract that's signed. You said he didn't even have the keys to the restaurant. And you're telling me all of these things. And I'm looking at you like, why are you telling me this? Tell this to yourself before you decide to invest $1,300 into someone's business. Don't talk over me.
Okay.
I'm trying to help you out.
Thank you.
So you know what to do going forward when you decide to make an investment. But what happened is y'all went to the Omni. You weren't thinking clearly because now it's business and pleasure all mixed in together. It's your birthday. He took you out on a date. Now you want to bring a lawsuit because you say he didn't pay you your money back and this was a loan and it wasn't. Here's my issue with you. All I ask you is one simple question. Because what you can't do is take someone's money, say you're investing it, and then if the restaurant doesn't open, see, it'd be one thing if the restaurant opened, we'd be done here.
Okay.
Right? But the restaurant never opened.
It never opened.
So all I want to know from you is what happened to the money that you said was invested, because you told me you had multiple investors in the beginning. Then you come back and you tell me she's the only one. So I simply want to know what happened to her $1,300. And you don't have any, you can't show me anything of what happened to that, because what you show me an invoice, but you don't show me any proof that you paid for anything with that $1,300, and that's what I want to see.
I have the pictures of the tables and chairs in the new restaurant that me and Miss Williams picked out.
I don't care about the new restaurant. I don't want to see photos. I want to see proof of when those items were purchased. Because you can come into court and tell me everything in the new restaurant I purchased for the old one, but I just didn't use it for that. Show me the proof. Where's the proof of payment? Excuse me?
No, ma'am, I don't have it.
Okay, so that's a problem, because that's your proof. So based on all the evidence I've heard, I don't find that there is sufficient proof in this case that you spent the $1,300 on items used for the restaurant that did not open. So I'm going to order you, sir, to return the $1,300 to the plaintiff. Everything else you're asking for, $100 for gas, $150 for the contract that you had drawn up, guess what? You got to eat some of these costs.
Okay, Your Honor.
Because that's the lesson that you learned. But I'm telling you now, you're lucky you're getting any of your money back in this case.
Thank you.
$1,300 judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you. Someday I do want to open up my own restaurant, but it'll be by myself, not with a partner.
I guess the judge made the proper decision, and I wish Ms. Williams the best of luck in whatever she does.
If you or someone you know has a dispute, don't take the law into your own hands. Let Judge Faith rule on it for you. To submit your case, go to judgefaith.com and tell us your story. See you in court.